Hi, folks. This is another UberPeople.net item in the complaints sections, and this is actually a response to another person's post earlier, and I figured that I could just go through this. It's from Little Sydney, and it's 2018 What Passengers Want. Driver recently posted what they'd like to see Uber offer in 2018. In exchange, I'd like to make a suggestion for what changes would like to see. I am certain many drivers will agree that my suggestions are mutually beneficial. Number one, stop with the upfront charges. Charge only by the mile. This is something that would help put more money into the drivers' pockets while providing a more fair fee to the passengers when it is very cold. I wish to take an Uber to go only a block or two. Why should I get charged $5 or more for this? Likewise, upfront charges can cost a driver half his fees. This is an interesting item. I mean, I understand where the person is coming from, and their ideology is written right here in the first sentence to charge only by the mile. That works out both good and bad. I mean, you run the risk of running items that are roughly about a mile when people literally want to go around the block, and sometimes not even a mile. But regardless, a lot of Uber drivers may actually lose some of their money, especially when they're stuck in congested traffic, or if they're driving those shorter trips because they're not earning a lot on the mileage. When it comes down to those shorter trips, a lot of it's time. You got to consider that distance is a fixed amount depending on the route that you take. And once that's the case, all you're going to earn back is your time. So I'm a little 50-50 on this one. I don't necessarily agree with all the reasonings. When it is very cold, I might wish to take Uber a block or two. That's what the minimum fare supplement is for. I mean, to be fair, Uber's minimum fare supplement in my region is roughly about to bring up a total to $3. So if I can take up to 5 short trips in an hour, that's roughly about 15 an hour, which is still well over minimum wage. But again, when it is very cold, if you're talking about that cold snap on the East Coast, I'm not even going to get involved in that. Make it easy to pair up with her favorite drivers again. I think he means his or her. There are times that you and your driver really click. That's true. Unfortunately, you may never get matched again with this driver ever again. I would like to see Uber create an option where you can specify this driver is among your favorite drivers, and Uber will try to pair you with them again as possible. This is something that I've been advocating for left and right, because there's plenty of drivers who drive out from Los Angeles to go to certain events. They take a person with them, and they'd want to take them back and get the surge for it. They don't want to give up that passenger to another person. So people will start exchanging phone numbers and saying, hey, when I get over here, when you try pinging, if you get me, great. If not, oh well. But there's not a whole lot of bad with this. I put up a post a couple of days ago regarding creating a favorite system. We do it a lot in the academic community. And what happens in the academic community is you find a tutor or a mentor or an instructor that you really like, and you stick with them. And because you stick with them and you post that, hey, this guy's been favorited by this many people, well, that means he must be a decent driver, so he's going to get favorited. It creates this hierarchical favorite system, which would actually benefit more full-time drivers than not. But again, I'm just responding to all these, so bring it along. Bring back the old tipping system. The old tipping system was not broken and did not need to be broken. This opinion has nothing to do with being cheap or not. The beauty of Uber was the simplicity of it all. You would just order an Uber ride and jump out. No worries, since they will not know that you gave them a tip until they left the car now. It does not make sense anyhow. The same people would continue to tip regardless if it is electronic or cash. See, with the new tipping system, I'll agree on a couple of things. The new tipping system is very awkward. When I say that it's very awkward, I mean that on the Uber X profiles, it'll be a little itty bitty thing on the bottom of the screen. You can't really see it very well unless a person is looking for it, but it's right beneath the ratings. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take an Uber ride yourself and see what I'm doing. I actually like the fact now that people can tip by electronic, because I'll find occasions when I wake up in the morning and I'll find tips just waiting for me that I got overnight. So that's impressive. And there's plenty of people that do go out and say, I don't have cash, I'll tip you through the app, that actually do tip, but there's an equal amount that don't. So I would say the same people will continue to tip regardless if it's electronic or cash. That's technically true. But I actually like the fact now that people do cash and also through the app. 4, bring back the old rating system. This was not broken either. Why did they change it? Actually, I don't like the old rating system as much as anything else, because the old rating system was really, really broken. Like, we would get 4 stars for BS items, such as not being able to get to the person on time, or maybe that person saw that we had to take an elongated route because of construction. They just give out 4 stars because, it took us a while to get there. That's not fair to us. That's not our fault. I mean, that's just the luck of the draw. God forbid I had to take a person from 30 minutes away, picked up the person. It was a $5 trip, and I got a 1 star for it. And when, I asked Uber what was the 1 star for, they said it was because it took you a while to get there. Well, hell, it was a 30-minute ping. Offer better loyalty rewards. If you've been using Uber for a few years, shouldn't you get better deals than someone that has just signed up? Yeah, I kind of wish that they would offer more ranked up promotions. Like, they would offer, like a little bit more mileage or a little bit more towards time. The gas card is an okay thing for Uber. I like the gas card for other reasons I'm not going to discuss now. But I'm not sure how to respond to that. I mean, if you could talk about what type of rewards you'd like to see. I'd like to see more incentives than more rewards for people who have been on the system longer, but that's another story. Allow better public or private feedback. 4 stars and 5 stars are not very helpful when ordering. It would be nice if you could be warned in advance by other passengers that your Uber smelled bad or your Uber drives too slowly. Likewise, your driver will know how to better improve. Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond to this one. Let's see. 4 or 5 stars are not very helpful when ordering. In reality, they kind of are. See, when a passenger who's smart actually looks at their Uber, a lot of them look down at the public profile and see what types of comments were left behind, and if they're super generic, I honestly don't like that. I like seeing very detailed specifics, like if somebody give out water or if somebody give out gum. On my profile, it talks about having an auxiliary cable in the car, which I give out to my passengers, etc., etc. Having a lot of bad items shown to the passengers, that's kind of poisoning the well. It's bad marketing. But no, the 5-star system is decent enough. Like, if you're going to go for like a detailed rating system, you got to remember people aren't going to read that deep into it. Require a phone call before a cancellation is allowed. There are a number of reasons why a person might not be at a pickup location on time, including that location. Including that the location Uber is showing the driver is not accurate. I strongly agree with this one. I believe Lyft has a similar function at the moment. Don't quote me on that. But I do believe that it is very appropriate for an Uber to have to call up their passengers ahead of time. Just because, again, maybe they don't have the phone directly with them. Maybe it's a family account and the person's requesting for another person, or the pickup pin's in the wrong location, not by any fault of their own. Or, and this has happened on multiple occasions, if you're picking up at an airport, they may not know where the terminal pickup zone is. So again, very agreeable on that. Show more automobile details upon ordering. Basic, simple information such as trunk capacity or Bluetooth availability would be very helpful at times when ordering an Uber. Maybe if I was to see more basic automobile details upon ordering, I think what I'd like to see. Well, what would I like to see in that department? Show more automobile details upon ordering. Trunk capacity, it's the standard 1-to-1 rule. Like if you've got 4 people in the car, you should be able to handle 4 bags. Now what I would go about saying is if Uber riders were smart, in which case I'm not saying they aren't, but I'm saying if Uber riders were smart and they needed more bag space, they would try to request an Uber that's got a car which shows up on the public profile that they know is kind of like a truck or a flatbed truck, or they can call in ahead of time and say, hey, I've got about 10 bags I need to take down to the airport. Do you think we can squeeze them all in your car? Yes or no? Yada, yada, yada. So maybe yes on the trunk capacity. I think a lot of people are going to back down on the Bluetooth availability because we don't really want to give out our radio control to somebody. That could be very bad. Automatically review the route the driver has taken and adjust rates accordingly. After a trip, I will usually review the route using another app like Waze. If it is not the shortest, I request an adjustment. This would make it much simpler and if this was all automatic. No, that is a flat out no. The reason why I'm saying no to this is because there may be occasions where you can't take the shortest route. Freeway construction happens all the time. Road construction happens all the time. Maybe there was an accident and you had to divert yourself off the freeway. If you have to take a 3-mile detour, that takes you roughly about 10 additional minutes because a cop told you to. You want to get paid less for that? No. Bring Uber Pool to Minneapolis. This is one great option the Twin Cities is missing out on. Maybe the Super Bowl will be perfect. Time to unroll it here. There's a lot of whiplash in LA County when it comes down to Uber Pool. A lot of it being, especially from the passenger point of view, I'm not even going to talk about it from the driver's point of view, but from the passenger point of view, a lot of them don't even know that they take it. And when they take an Uber Pool, they don't understand the rules behind it. There's not enough outreach that actually explains what a pool is. They only see the reduction in price. But I do agree that in some scenarios, like if people are going to a specific workplace, that would be, a decent item to have. Lyft has actually started doing something in Chicago and San Francisco, which is a commuter line where you basically act like a bus system now, where you follow down a specific route and you drop off at specific locations for that commute. Look it up later. Requires the driver to take a basic driving test. Take a basic test before driving. Speaking fluent English should be a requirement. This test would make it better for the drivers who pass the test also. The minimum requirement is 2 years of driving, I believe. So that's the assumption that they should be a decent driver. Speaking fluent English should be a requirement. Yeah. Also, that depends on the country that you're in. Like, if you're in France, you should speak fluent French. If you're in China, you should speak fluent Mandarin. Or if you have a bunch of Filipino people around, you may want to know some decent Tagalog. Yeah, they can't really reinforce this. Except for Uber Assist, but that's a different story. Refresh all passenger ratings to 5.0 in 2018. Uber has changed the rating system so many times in the past 2 years, ratings are now meaningless. Let everyone start out with a fresh slate. No. Again, same reason as before. And this is also contradictory. If your driver's ratings are meaningless, why would the ratings of the passengers be meaningful too? There's a reason why that rating system still exists, and a lot of drivers don't really pay too much attention to it unless they can have the right to be really picky, but it really doesn't hold any value. So no, I wouldn't even bother changing it altogether. Put the personal into personal driver. It would be nice if you could select a few options immediately after or during your Uber if you wanted to. For example, you could request how you want the temperature, how you want the music, and if you want to be engaged in conversation or not. A car with or without a dash cam. Allowing a passenger to select these in advance would mean more 5-star ratings for drivers. Another win-win solution. My car isn't temperature controlled. I mean, it either gets super cold or super hot, and I have to keep constantly adjusting it. The music is in my car, and on occasions I'll be more conversational than not. If you wish to be engaged in conversation, you'll talk to the person. And if you don't talk to the person, they don't want to be engaged in conversation. Dash cams is the person's personal preference, so no. I mean, I get plenty of 5-star ratings anyways, but no. Reduce surges. Taxis don't change their rates just because the bars are closing. Why should Ubers? You know what? That is a fair point. Taxis don't change their rates because they're already expensive. They are expensive on top of expensive, and taxis can refuse to drive certain areas. That is a huge thing. They refuse to drive certain areas. For example, a lot of taxi drivers don't want to drive in San Bernardino, especially in certain hours of the night. Why did we do surges? Because there's nobody really around, and you got to encourage your drivers to stay out later. So, no. Make customer support number available. Most other major corporations have a toll-free customer support number to report problems. Why can't Uber? There is customer support, but they are expanding that currently, so that's probably coming in more. Remove the lost item fee. This was fine before, and it gives flexibility to drivers and passengers to negotiate the best way and price to have this forgotten return. Now flexibility has been taken away. No. Just a flat out no, because beforehand we would be told to bring back the item. If we didn't bring back the item, then we would get deactivated. And on top of that, that's time and money out of our pockets and effort to try and get it back to you guys. Is it extreme at $15? Kind of, but when you put in an hour's worth of time beforehand to just make sure that you can find the guy, plus communicate with the guy, that comes out to roughly about minimum wage timeframes for plenty of states. Let's see, number 17. Offer more drivers at late hours. In December, I had a hard time getting an Uber early in the morning when I needed to get to the airport. Improve your driver capacity for all areas and times. This isn't an Uber problem. This is a driver problem. Many of the drivers actually stay out until gosh knows what hours of the morning, and they're comfortable with that. But I get it. You're having difficulty getting to the airport, but a very quick fix for that would be to try and make sure that you leave yourself enough time to get an Uber. You can do pings early on, it drives some of the drivers nuts, but you can request a driver to see how far away somebody is, and always give yourself plenty of time, especially late at night. If you already know that the hours are going to be bad, you should give yourself an extra hour to wait for your Uber and to get there. Provide more transparency in rates. It would be nice to know where our money is going to drivers or to Uber. If you really want to know that, you could ask your driver to show you the fare detail breakdowns, but that's beside the point. I do know that tips go 100% to us, so that's a plus. But as far as what the actual driver makes, it's a 50-50. Allow female passengers to request female drivers. This is especially important at late hours because of safety reasons. I take a little offense to this. Being a male driver, I take a little offense because I'm a school teacher. Technically I teach mathematics for school children. And on top of all that, I understand that females want females because they'll feel more secure, but if you really want to go to that extreme, okay, fine, leave it open, but that's pretty discriminatory. I mean, I shouldn't say discriminatory. Let me rephrase that. It's very biased. There are many male Uber drivers out there that are very comfortable with how they work, how they run, and on top of all that, they don't hit on their female passengers. And if you do get a male driver that hits on you and you feel uncomfortable around them, then report them. It's as simple as that. Let's take a look at what the moderator said. The fact that you don't understand upfront pricing, he talks about pricing. Let's see. Okay, is there anything that I can respond to here? Nope, there's nothing I'm going to respond to here. So, long story short, this is unedited. This is first time stuff. So, you can find this in the complaints forum of uberpeople.net and have fun.